Okay, today we're going to do a little quickie lesson on strumming. I get asked a lot about strumming, and people get really hung up on intricate strumming patterns. Now, let's just break it down first of all. So music tends to just have a downbeat, and then everything else that happens kind of is secondary. It ornaments the downbeat. So if you've got a 4/4 beat, the downbeat is 1, 2, 3, 4. If it was a 3/4 beat, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So whatever the time signature is, those are the fundamental and most important parts that you need to bring out in your strumming. So the advice I give with strumming, first of all, is just to focus on your downstrokes. Now, another piece of advice I like to give is don't strum with your arm. Just strum with little bounces of the wrist. Now, the exercise I would give is you first of all just start strumming, but get a little bounce at the end. It's like down, bounce, down, bounce, down, bounce, down, bounce, down, bounce. Right? Because those little bounces begin to turn into some of those more intricate little upstrokes that make the strum sound more interesting, but they're actually incidental to the downstroke. So what you want to do is fool your brain into just thinking of downstroke, downstroke, downstroke. And all the other stuff tends to begin to evolve as your hand is returning back to set up the next downstroke. Little example there. Now, another little tip I like to give if you're going to strum is learning to pick out bass notes. So what you would do is you would target the lowest note in the chord. So here for a G, for example, it's just simply the top E string. If it was a C, you would be on the A string. Now, don't be put off by the fact that that sounds kind of very simple and country, pick strum, because these are the fundamentals that more elaborate strumming patterns and rhythms are birthed from. So you do need to learn how to get really, really strong with something simple first. I can't stress that enough. Now, as you move on, I'm going to show you another little tip. Now, let's say you were playing an A minor. If you were hitting the bass note, the A string, you can also hit the top E. You could also do that with a D chord. Say if we've got a D chord, you'd start off on the D string, strum, and then you go to the string above it, which is the A string, and you get this D strum, A strum, D strum, A strum. Okay, now that can actually evolve into some very sophisticated patterns. That sounds very folky and country, but if I was to use a fancy chord and move into bar chords and change the feel slightly, you can end up with some very bluesy, funky kind of sounding patterns. So don't be put off by its simplicity. Master those fundamentals, and that will very quickly evolve into something more exciting in your playing. Now, if you were playing a chord where you don't have an open string that sits above the root note of the chord, so let me just over-explain that. So if we were playing A minor, you have the open A, and the string above it, which is also open, is kind of like an available bass note. The same goes for the D. The D has got an open bass note, the open D, and you have the open A above it. But if you were playing a G, you don't have an open string above it that you can choose from. So all you really need to do there is choose the next string down in the chord formation. So here I'm going to go E string, A string, with the chord shape. I could do the same with the C. I'd be going on the A string, which is on the 3rd fret in the C chord, to the D string, which which my middle finger is on, fretted on the 2nd fret. And that creates some motion and interest in an otherwise very, very simple strum. Now, also, once you introduce elements like singing or other instruments, the downstroke actually can be remarkably effective. There's a Beatles song called "And Your Bird Can Sing," and John Lennon is just going. So I'll give you a quick demonstration. So say something like "Stand By Me." Now, it has a kind of... That's a fairly elaborate little pattern, and I'll teach you how to do that in another lesson. But if you were to just play that with downstrokes and you introduce the vocal... When the night has come and the land is dark, you can see that it still kind of rocks along. So start with simple downstrokes, maybe introduce some bass notes if you're feeling adventurous, and begin that journey of your strumming adventure. Now, strumming is very, very important because most of what you will be playing as a guitarist is not going to be shreddy leads, but it's just going to be simple chords. So go for something that is very, very solid. Stay on that rhythm. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid, as Kiss said, and you will be able to provide a nice, reliable backing for another musician or yourself to put something over the top. Because guitars are not lead instruments alone. They are lead instruments and they're also accompanying instruments. And that's probably why they're the most common instrument you will find out there, because they're just very, very useful and wonderful things. So now, talking about the upstrokes, we'll just talk briefly about that to finish off the lesson. So if you've got your downstrokes, just pick a chord and do your downstrokes, and then you might find in that little bounce, start getting little up flicks on your way back to the next downstroke. Now, this should happen organically. Now, don't panic if it doesn't, but you might be surprised just how quickly you end up playing more elaborate and intuitively formed strumming patterns. So, in summary, just work on a nice solid downstroke, perhaps alternate the bass note of the chord if you are managing that and you're feeling adventurous, and just see what comes out. Stay with it, and once you've mastered that core skill, and remember that the fundamentals are the most important when you play guitar. Every master musician I've ever known always constantly talks about rudiments, and the rudiments are the small little building blocks that build up to make the larger piece. If every building block is solid and very, very good, then the whole piece you play, when you put them together, is going to sound precise and pleasing to the ear. So, downstrokes, get a little bit of a bounce at the bottom of that downstroke, which will begin to morph into upstrokes, maybe change your bass notes, and have a bit of a play. I hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.